Hello friends and welcome back for another episode of Indie Impressions. My name is Nick and today we're going to be checking out something called Ynglet. I think is probably the closest way to pronounce that one as far as I can tell. It is by Nifless Games, aka Nicholas Nygren, the same person who did the game I covered yesterday, if you remember correctly, Battle Cube. Which I thought was very, very cool. I guess he's on a bit of a spree in developing stuff all of a sudden, and I just want to check this one out as well because it looked very cool. And basically the goal here is to fly from one floating block to another and collect a series of 5 seeds. And you'll see what that means in just a moment and why that's even a challenge. So let's just jump right into the game. Might be a bit of a shorter episode again, but I'm really getting into covering all these really interesting little tiny mini experiences. Now, every time I've started this up, it's been slightly different. You'll see we play as this fish-like, jellyfish-ish kind of creature with tendrils hanging down from its head, which actually reminds me a lot of Flow. But we've also got this series of boxes everywhere, which actually reminds me a lot of Cargo Commander. And the thing here is that there is always going to be gravity, so when I jump out of these boxes, I gotta make sure I have a destination in mind or I'm going to fall to my death. The gravity is pretty swift and it is rather angry, and you want to make sure that you always have an idea in mind of where you want to go. So the goal I mentioned again is to find a series of 5 seeds. Now first you have to figure out even what those seeds are, and I believe they're actually going to be these little dudes up here at the top, which looks like those the souls from Shadow Man. And if I get sufficient velocity, then we should be able to pick things like that up without too much trouble. Now we've got... oh, that was a really bad jump, and we actually have fallen to our deaths there. But that's okay, because we get to reset. So it's different each time. It's got this really charming graphical aesthetic and a really cool sense of sound to it. Actually, that was a horrible jump there. Immediately off the world. And what I mean by a cool sense of sound is that there's a stereo-directional sound coming out from these beacon points, which have this little like vibration design going on in them. And as you get near those points, I guess they're to maybe direct you towards where the next seeds might be, perhaps. And they give you, a little bit of guidance as you zoom around looking for where you want to go. And I mean, there are quite a few different directions to head in once you start getting further in, and you want to make sure you're always headed in the right spot. Now that almost was fatal, but we need to make sure we get enough of a trajectory here. There we go. Let's grab that next seed. Now I do want to point out, of course, that the aesthetic here is really cool. It's basically like pen drawing, and it has a really good, refined sense of color to it. Oh, this could be a bit of an interesting jump. I gotta make it all the way up there. So I might want to try and build velocity from the bottom up. But if you look at the color palette, it definitely has some good stuff going on in it. We've got like browns and aquas and yellows, and just a bunch of colors that sort of work together to make each color pop individually, and when you put that against this rather stark white background, it does definitely make things jump out at you a bit more, and it's just really interesting, all these random little designs and doodles on everything. It just sort of, it intrigues me in a few ways. I don't know if this is a good direction to be heading in. I guess we found the captain's wheel. Nothing much going on over here. And the fact that everything is constantly moving around means that one bad jump means you're basically just done, which is exactly what happened there. I may have stumbled upon a situation that might have been like untraversable, if that's even a word, intraversable. I don't know if there's a word in there. Hopefully there is. But the goal obviously was to get up to that big sphere, and I don't think I could have made the jump up that high, unless maybe I just wait around for things to move around into the right orientation, and who knows, maybe there's another path through that I just didn't see. But it seems like things do structure themselves somewhat similarly. Actually, this looks completely similar to the last thing I just did. But, I don't know, it felt like they were different as well. Maybe it's just the orientation of things and the way that they're moving around. Definitely contributed to the fact that it seemed like these were, totally different each time. I guess we'll test it because they just keep flying off. It would actually make a lot more sense to me, anyway, that it wouldn't be procedurally generated or randomized to some extent. Although maybe some of the doodles in the individual blocks could be randomized. I don't know, there might be some sort of a middle ground going on there. That is a really bad jump. Alright, well, we're still alive. Yeah, it does look like these are actually pretty much in the same position. If this sphere gets high enough, though, can I make it all the way up here? Nope. What I'm going to guess is they're probably all on their own little patrol paths, essentially, and we're just catching them at different moments as they move around, because these ones, yeah, this one seems to always be turning around in a circle, those ones on the left seem to be going up and down. So yeah, there's all kinds of little nuances I suppose we can discover here. And also, yeah, I haven't been able to reach that from that same jump every single time, so I guess that does sort of dispel that myth that I was putting forth a moment ago. Maybe we've got to come at it from a new angle. You might also notice there are some foreground and background effects going on, some depth of field type things, and also a really subtle, barely noticeable little particle effect as you leap from these shapes into each other. So there's really not much going on in these directions I haven't been in. How am I supposed to get 5 of these seeds if I can't reach anything else? Maybe I could make a crazy jump all the way over here, and, well, I've passed it, but that's not gonna help me. Okay. Well, no problem. I sort of feel like it's invoking the sense of maybe we're looking at microbes or, like, you know, very low-celled organisms, something to that effect. Which is, you know, an entirely alien world that I think is still yet to be explored to the fullest extent that it can be in a video game. I think there's a lot of really great material in that concept. What am I supposed to do here? Can I make it... What if I jump through this thing? Can that help me zoom to new heights? Oh, there's nothing over there at all. Now we know. It did seem like that almost helped me go a little further, didn't it? I should mention this is completely free to play. It is available for a download as either a 32 or 64-bit binary. The links are going to be available in the description of this video, so if you want to take this for a spin yourself and maybe see if you can do a little bit better than I've been doing here, you feel free to do so. There we go. So I seem to have no problems getting these first 2, but then it seems like I have to do some sort of a run-up or... you know, find some sort of a new way to approach... Oh, you know what I should do? I should just leap from this angle all the way across to the other side. And if I get enough of a run-up, I might be... Yep, I can. I made it all the way over. Alright, so the other way was a bit of a trap, or at least maybe a red herring, so to speak. But now I think we've started to figure out the path here, the progression, if you will. So I guess there's a small degree of puzzle to this game as well. Oh, does this actually... Yeah, it takes me along for the ride on this, so I gotta make sure my jumps are timed effectively, otherwise I'm just gonna fall right out of this thing to my death. Oh, jeez. Alright, well that... Oh, I lived. That was a little unexpected. You know, the other thing this sort of evokes for me is Vivian Clark, which is a game that I still have to cover on the show. But a really interesting sort of doodle-based game by the developer of Soda Drinker Pro, and one that I think you guys would definitely get a kick out of. The only reason I haven't covered it already is just because I wanted to see if there was going to be more content added first before I did. And it seems like things have gone by for quite a while now, and I don't know if that's still going to change or what, if the game will have more content. I was also waiting on a Kickstarter to see how that was going to go. I think they didn't make their funding, unfortunately, for that one. And yes, I know, I'm a bit of a scumbag because I probably could have helped a bit, but I don't think it was close enough for me to make a substantial enough difference. Am I supposed to get a bit of a run up here and then try and leap up into the air? That's going to be tricky because I got to time it as this thing spins to try and, like, slingshot myself forward. Surprising degree of things going on in this, a bit of a diversity in gameplay, more so than I expected when I saw what exactly the components of this were. Am I going to be able to steer myself back over to the right? Oh, barely. Alright, the inertia of you falling is sometimes more than you can overcome. There we go. Squiggle around and get your way upward. It's kind of hard to control, but at the same time, when you have a good moment of movement, it definitely feels nice. Whoa, and then there's also the fact that you have to adapt very, very quickly to things that are changing. Well, that should have done it. Can I, like, come back at this from another angle, maybe? Or maybe I really do have to use the slingshotty nature? Can I mean, because I can't, like, speed up my velocity when I'm up in the air by, like, turning around and then going back down. The turning around animation that you see happens by itself. It looks like the cube might have actually... Yeah, it seems to be very subtly rotating left and right, so maybe I actually have to time... Yeah, probably the exact opposite of what I just did. Time my jump out of it so I catch it when it is tilted in the direction that I want to jump from. And with my poor jumping skills here, that seems like it's only making things worse for me. Landing something. Oof, thankfully, there's plenty of stuff under me. But it just goes to show you a simple premise combined with a charming visual aesthetic can go a very long way to making an entertaining little bit of interactive experience. Oh, it hasn't been pointed up that far before. What did I do? I'm pretty sure this is the only way that I'm going to be able to reach the seed. There must be something to what I'm doing. Still not quite there. Can't really make it go any higher than that. It's perfectly tilted. Yeah, and now I've lost my opportunity. So opportunity only comes in once in a lifetime and all that. Let's head back down, see if there's anything. Okay, maybe you'll just fall all the way to the ground. Or close to it. Yeah, the little hits of music sound lovely. I really enjoy those moments. It's one of those games that really does embrace every one of your senses, well, except for maybe taste, but you really expect that to be, and touch, because, you know, just using the keyboard here, but you get what I'm trying to say. All the senses that count for the most part in video games. I think this comes together rather nicely, and it's one that I would love to see developed into a further experience, you know, having multiple worlds to traverse, more diversity, more elements to see and do. I think it would make a really interesting, you know, one of the types of games is like maybe instead of it being 10 or 15 minutes long, it's more like 3 hours long, and then you sell it for $10 or $15 on Xbox Live Marketplace or something like that. I don't know, just spitballing ideas, but I have a feeling this could be a bit of a hit for those of us who enjoy heavily stylized looking games, and I personally am that guy, if you didn't know already. So this seed seems to be nearly impossible for me to get for whatever reason. How about I just fling myself off into the distance and see if I go anywhere cool? Maybe I'll land in a secret island filled with, I don't know, wonderful things. Yeah, you have to fall like all the way from the top for it to count that you know, killed yourself, so I guess there is that. It takes a while, and then you have to reset back to the beginning. But yeah, a really cool game. I really enjoy it. Concepts like this I am always on the lookout for. And it seems like Nifless Games has the finger on the proverbial button here for concepts that get me interested and excited. And generally, if you saw a screenshot of this, I have a feeling it's the type of thing that would be quite appealing. Before you've even played it, you feel like you've already got something invested in wanting to see more about it, or at least that's how I felt. So I am curious, of course, to know if you have a similar opinion, and what you might do to make this game better or different or change it around. What might you do differently in the development of a game like Ynglet to make it more entertaining for you and others? So let me know in the comments what you think about that. And of course, like I said earlier, if you'd like to go check this one out yourself, links are going to be right in the description, so feel free. Go give it a download, give it a try. Let me know your specific opinions after you've played it for a minute or two. I mean, you don't really have to spend that long with it to get the idea of what it's about, and you probably have a pretty good idea just from watching me play it already, but it is always nice to get your hands on it and feel what the controls feel like, get your hands dirty a little bit, and understand, you know, a sense of velocity and inertia, and feel the stereo positioning of the sound moving over you, all that good stuff. Probably, now I'm overselling the game a little bit, but you understand. Anyway, that is going to wrap us up for another episode of Indie Impressions. Thank you so much, guys, for hanging out with me. As always, feel free to head on over to my website, which is indie-impressions.com, where you can find over 450 other indie games neatly categorized for your perusal. So in case you're ever hurting for something to play, there is always something over there, and all kinds of other stuff, including my forums and, you know, extra little bits and pieces. All my social media links, of course, are right in the description of this video, so feel free to peruse some of that stuff as well, in case there's anything else you might want to check out. You know, like my Twitter or my other links like my Twitch. But that is going to do it for today. Thank you so much for hanging out, guys, and I will see you again tomorrow. Have a lovely night.